In 2016, a book was released that quietly exposed how the world of spies really works. Not the movies, real methods, real tricks, real operations. In the next few minutes, we'll open a few of its most dangerous pages and show you how intelligence agencies actually think and act. One of the things you have surely noticed one day is that as soon as the talk starts about spies and their world, ears perk up, minds go quiet and focus, eyes widen, and the features of the face show astonishment. That's because the world of intelligence gathering, espionage, and secret services is a world packed with excitement, mysterious, and the fence around it hides tons of secrets, and it sets off people's imagination. It creates bridges of curiosity and longing to know secrets, this world that doesn't open itself to anyone. Of course, here we're talking about intelligence operations that contain a state's secrets, whether in wartime or peacetime. But as for the arts of intelligence gathering and spying, these are not secret arts, the way some people portray them. Today, they are a known discipline with its rules, its methods, its system, and its foundations. Knowing the discipline is one thing, practicing its art is another. Like chess, for example. It's easy to learn the rules and laws, but hard to be successful at it, or reach a cracked, very high level. Every chess player knows the rules of the game, but there are those who play it in a neighborhood cafe and those who play it in the World Championship. In the arts of intelligence work and espionage, it wasn't formed in a single night. Its experience accumulated over years, hard years, so much so that we can say it goes back thousands of years without exaggeration. There hasn't been any war or era that passed without intelligence gathering and spying as a main weapon. It transfers the enemy's information and secrets, greatly reduces the chances of surprise, and at the same time increases your ability to trick the enemy and hit them with blows that pin them to the ground. The art of intelligence and espionage is always developing fast. Information has enormous value in it. They chase even the most precise details, details that might seem shallow or trivial to an ordinary person who doesn't think with an intelligence mindset. Reality shows that a small piece of information can sometimes be important to a dangerous degree. Here we'll take an example from an old operation. A simple piece of information said, the man they were targeting was crazy about drinking Coca-Cola in a big way. That information is what made the whole operation succeed. The man was carrying a bag, tied with a chain to his hand. When he got on the plane, a hostess came and brought him juices and sodas to choose from. He chose the only bottle of Coke there, the one they had already put something in. It gave him terrible stomach pain, and he told a doctor on the plane that his appendix burst like that because the situation was dangerous. The plane landed at the nearest airport. There, intelligence men were waiting for him, secretly tracking him. They took him to a hospital and brought him into a small operating room. In the operating theater, the intelligence men opened that bag, photographed all the documents inside it, the secret plans, and then closed it exactly as it was, before he woke up. When our guy woke up, he found the bag still chained to his hand. Information is the pillar and foundation for intelligence agencies. Everything depends on it. So every intelligence service invents ways to manage information. At the top of that is intelligence gathering and spying, a secret method of collecting information from the source. It can go far, until you plant an agent inside enemy ranks, or you can recruit some of them. This field keeps moving alongside developments. In the early 1930s, everyone was shocked by a way information was gathered that they did not expect. In that period, Hitler was at the head of power in Germany, and his Nazi party had a secret plan to rebuild and rearm the army and bypass the Treaty of Versailles. But while they were preparing, they were shocked by the publication of a book by a German journalist living in Switzerland, Berthold Jacob. That book mentioned details about the German army, units, battalions, where they were located, and the names of commanders leading the regiments and brigades. Hitler was furious and demanded his intelligence services bring that journalist to him by any means, to find out how he got such a huge amount of information. Indeed, they kidnapped Jacob from Switzerland and brought him on a private plane to Berlin. He was shocked when he found himself in the Gestapo headquarters, its demons, the terror they were known for, interrogating him. "Where did you get the information in the book?" And here came the surprise. The journalist had nothing to do with any intelligence service. All the information in the book he extracted from newspapers published in Germany, specifically from the obituary page. You might read, for example, "The wife of General so-and-so, commander of Brigade Number X in Region Y, announces that her husband has died." And you find a lot of details written. Names, unit numbers, positions, and other details. That journalist, with a bit of patience and a lot of digging and organization, fell upon a massive amount of information about the German army. He linked it, organized it, and put it into a book, one that brought him a black curse from the Nazis, i.e., it enraged them. That's how a new method entered the intelligence world, collecting information openly and creating a new branch they called open information. This branch gathers information from newspapers, periodicals, economic decisions, and other information circulating in the world. People read it with normal eyes, but intelligence services read it with intelligence eyes. After what happened with that journalist in Germany, no death notice for a military man in the newspaper would include details about his rank, unit, office, or where he was posted, because they understood the danger of information published in the world. Over time, the art of intelligence and espionage evolves. Things that are no longer useful get removed, and new methods arrive. Failure can make this art develop faster, because in the intelligence world, the success of a method often remains secret for a long time, but a scandal immediately causes a boom of information, i.e., exposes methods. The art of espionage is like a huge puzzle game. Every piece has great importance, no matter how small, if you want the full picture. But some information is difficult to reach, sometimes almost impossible. That's why you need secret, non-traditional methods to obtain it. This is what we call espionage, obtaining information secretly. The value of obtaining information secretly becomes clear in the enemy's ignorance that you even have it. Otherwise, the information loses its value. For example, if your enemy uses a code and you manage to get its key, the value of that key depends on your enemy not knowing you got it. If they find out, they'll change the code or the key, and your information becomes worthless. Espionage is a science and an art. The science you can find in books, encyclopedias, and the internet. But the art is talent, creativity, and invention. The history of espionage is a school in the art of gathering secret information through methods full of intelligence, creativity. Everyone tries their best to invent new methods that the enemy can't uncover or even imagine. No matter how far technology advances, there must still be the most important factor in the whole game: the human spy, the field agent. Exactly at this point, many people fall into a big mistake, mixing up espionage with the technology of espionage. Some people say, why would we use human spies in a technological era and digital information when it's easy to obtain information and transfer it? They ask, what's the purpose of a human spy among all this technology? This is a big mistake. Technology, in all its forms, can monitor only what is visible. For example, satellites can monitor your house and many details of your belongings, but they cannot reveal what you're hiding inside yourself. I still remember how, for a long time, some people were saying that the Americans, with their advanced technology, could know the underwear Saddam was wearing. Yet with all that, their technology couldn't locate Saddam when he disappeared. If it weren't for the human factor, an agent on the ground who knew where he was hiding, he would have stayed hidden. Even in the first Gulf War in the early 1990s, planes bombed many targets detected by advanced technology. But later, they discovered they were only decoys, not real units. The Americans wasted missiles worth millions of dollars to hit them. If they had one spy on the ground, he would have revealed the truth and guided the strikes to the real targets. Technology is an important helping factor, but it is not everything. The main factor is the spy. The word spy means someone wormed in among a group of people in secret, which allows him to uncover their secrets and transfer them to the side he works for. In Darya, you might call him Barakak, nosy, informer, or Triatai, one who tells on people. These words approach the meaning, but they don't fully capture it. There are many kinds of spies, each with a role and importance depending on their abilities and where they are embedded. For example, the insider spy, someone who belongs to the enemy side and is recruited to betray the side he belongs to and transmit its secrets to the side that recruited him. All countries treat this type as the dirtiest kind of spies and the least trustworthy. A person who betrays his country for the sake of the enemy's interests. There is no way to trust his loyalty to any side. So when intelligence services recruit someone, they evaluate and control him. First, they determine his type. Then they find a way to control him and keep him always on the line, so he won't lean to another side. This kind of spy is caught in the net through many ways. The first is money. There are greedy people. Put some tempting amount in front of them, and they betray their country. This is the biggest motive that makes some cursed people become informers. Then comes the second method, sex. It's not just a motive. It's also a strong tool for control. You can film him and keep him trapped with videos. He'll keep doing what you want out of fear of exposure. After sex comes ideology. Not religion necessarily, but sectarian, intellectual, or ideological belonging. The history of espionage is full of people who betrayed their countries because they believed in the enemy's ideology. A famous example is the deputy director of British intelligence, who was later exposed as a Soviet spy because he was convinced by communist thought. Then comes hatred of the system as a main motive. Some people throw themselves into the enemy's arms as revenge against their own country. Enemy intelligence quietly holds that thread and tries to feed it with whatever is needed, so the person keeps betraying. Another motive, falling into a serious problem, a scandal. The enemy intelligence learns about it, and it becomes a weapon in their hands. The person may see that betraying his country is better than being exposed. Recruiting a spy is a complex process. Every step requires great precision. Otherwise, the person you want to recruit might flip the table and report you. That's why, at the beginning of recruitment, intelligence services plant an agent among the community they're watching. Often an old, experienced agent from the same environment. It's easy for him to blend in, make friends, gain trust. This agent is usually that quiet person people describe as, "May God fill his house," a calm person who doesn't get into conflicts. One of the most important traits of a spy is that he doesn't argue about politics, religion, sports rivalry, or any topic that could make someone suspicious. This type of agent is called the spotter, the one who sorts. He's trained to sort the people in the perimeter. He looks for anyone who has connections and identifies those with motives, clear weaknesses, missing principles, and puts them on a list of people who could serve the interests of another country. This task is not easy. You can find someone angry at the state, the regime, the laws, yet that still may not be the profile of someone who would betray his country, no matter how much you offer. And the opposite exists. Someone quiet who doesn't complain, but he has motives that could make him betray. For example, he might be suffering from lack of money, borrowing from everyone and unable to repay. Debts pile up, people chase him, and no one lends him even a single coin. Then he becomes ready to do the devil's work if someone can pay off his debts and relieve him. The spotter isolates candidates who seem ready for recruitment. He gets close to them, socializes, helps them, especially financially, or entangles them in dangerous matters to ensure they fall into the net. But the spotter's mission is limited to this. He's not the one who performs the recruitment. He sends information about the candidates to the intelligence service he works for. The service studies those candidates and the reports. Technical and psychological departments analyze the details to refine the list. They focus on who is suitable and discard the rest. They determine how to control the target. Then they inform the spotter that a high-rank officer will handle the selection of this good candidate. The spotter arranges a meeting between the expert officer and the target. Usually this is the spotter's last task. After that, he disappears from the picture. The expert officer takes over, supported by reports about the target's personality, weaknesses, and the ways to trap him. Little by little, the expert introduces the idea of help working together to the target after meeting and confirming he is recruitable. The offer is not direct or heavy at first. It starts small, something that doesn't touch his country at all. This is how they pull him step by step into the net. They feed his weaknesses and ambitions until his hopes and dreams become tied to that offer. The expert might start by giving him money to get out of a tight spot, or improving his status. The sweet life begins. Money comes in without work. At that moment, the expert suddenly disappears after making sure the target has become attached to him and to the money pouring in. The expert disappears for a long time, and the target becomes lost. He feels his hopes and dreams evaporated. He's terrified of returning to misery after tasting luxury and easy money. Now he becomes ready to do anything at any price to regain that life that vanished. At the decisive moment, when the technical department decides the time has come, the expert appears again. He extends the thread to the target, saves him from being lost, and the target clings to that thread like someone clinging to life. Here the recruitment begins and betrayal of the country. Documents and proof are taken so he can't escape or back out when the confrontation moment arrives. Now let's move to another very important and dangerous type of spy, the planted, embedded spy. He comes from his country to live in the enemy's country, adopts a different identity, and becomes like a native. You cannot distinguish him from people. He may reach a high position in that country. This helps him obtain dangerous information, recruit others, or even run an entire spy network. This type's loyalty is guaranteed to his own country because he belongs to you, not to your enemy. One of the most famous successful embedding operations among Arabs and in North Africa is the operation of Rafat el-Gamal, known as Rafat el-Hagan. Rafat was a drifter in Egypt, doing a bit of everything, pretending to be many things. For his family, he looked like a failed man. One time, he pretended to be something and was caught on the Egypt-Libya border. At that time, the Egyptian intelligence service had not yet been established. When Rafat fell into police hands, an officer noticed his talent in playing identities. They used him first as a spy among Jews living in Alexandria. He played the role of a Jew with a Cypriot mother and a French father, worked in an insurance company, began going to the synagogue, and sitting in the cafes on the Corniche where Jews gathered. He kept his head down and didn't attract attention. They were the ones who wanted to know him and got close to him. Egyptian intelligence was established in 1955, and the officer became one of its officers and decided to benefit greatly from Rafat. He moved his successful activity with the Jews in Alexandria into Israel itself. Rafat managed to reach Israel, obtain its citizenship, and became one of Egypt's strongest and most successful eyes. This embedding operation was successful and is considered a model in the world of intelligence and in the history of espionage arts. He completed his mission successfully and kept his Israeli citizenship until his deathbed after a long illness. The embedded spy requires the most intense training and real talent, allowing him to last in the place he has planted. He is trained especially so he can live among the enemy without anyone suspecting him. From the day he sets foot on enemy land, he must go through necessary stages to establish himself. He begins with the sleeper agent stage until he becomes a resident agent. At first, when the spy arrives in a new land, he's called a sleeper agent. This means he performs no intelligence-gathering activity, so he doesn't get exposed or raise suspicion. He might even report to the authorities if he suspects someone is watching him, or report any recruitment attempt, just like any honest citizen. The purpose of this stage is for the spy to plant his roots naturally, without obvious outside help or contact with the intelligence service. He must pass through all the exams and obstacles in his way and live like an ordinary person. He must not be strange in social relations. Everything must look normal. If he comes across a secret, he must pretend not to see it, even if it is extremely sensitive, because there is a high chance it was deliberately placed to test his loyalty. The sleeper stage is not limited to a fixed duration. Natural circumstances control it, and the spy's ability to adapt. When the appropriate moment comes, intelligence transforms him from sleeper to active. When intelligence is convinced the spy has fully integrated, with no suspicions, they send him a signal to activate. That signal is something ordinary, no hidden message, so it doesn't raise suspicion. A normal letter, a small gift like perfume or a shirt. When the spy receives this signal, agreed upon before the mission, he understands the sleep phase is over, and it is now time for action. Here he begins gathering information. At first he uses a simple method, a dead drop. He goes to a place at a set time, enters the restroom, and leaves the information in an agreed spot, then leaves. Later, someone else enters, often someone he doesn't know, takes it and leaves, without them meeting. When the information proves useful, the service trusts him more, and he moves to covert meetings. He meets another agent and hands over information directly in a few seconds, in a method that changes each time. That is the beginning of new training that raises his rank in the world of espionage. This was a preview of the art of intelligence gathering and its methods. There is still a lot that can be said. If there's an opportunity, we'll add more later. I hope you receive this while you're calm and okay. And that's it, brothers.